Welcome everyone. Thanks for coming today. Thanks for joining Veeam software webinar. My name is Eugene Rudinsky. I'm systems engineer working at Veeam software. And today I'd like to talk about something which is quite important for your virtual environment. Something that you can use for virtual machines, data protection, virtual environment management, monitoring, which is called a Veeam Availability Suite V8. So just in case to check out if you can hear me, so there is a virtual hand that you can raise. Just let me know if you can hear me, so just raise your hand, please. All right, excellent. So thank you very much. And another question to you, if you don't mind. As you are here, so probably you have something virtualized already within your virtual environment. So raise your hand if you use VMware. All right, perfect. So thank you very much. And so I assume that rest of you who haven't raised the hand is Hyper-V customer. But anyway, just wonder if anybody uses Hyper-V here. Also, please use the virtual hand just to highlight this. All right. Yeah, thank you very much for taking part in this part of the presentation. So just a couple of words about the agenda today. So first of all, this webinar is being recorded, so we will be send an email to you once we prepare the recording, and we'll show you the download link where it is sitting, so you can just review it again and again if you didn't get it from the first time. As well as my slides, I will send you out so you can review it as well. So using this tool that you use for getting connected to this demonstration allows you to send your questions. So there is Q&A box. Just click on it, and if something is not clear to you, if you have any question or if you just want to comment, so please feel free to use it. And myself or my colleague will cover it during the demonstration or at the end where we have Q&A. So here we go with agenda. So Veeam Availability Suite is something that contains data protection part, which is Veeam Backup Replication. I will be talking about Veeam Backup features, especially I will try to focus my presentation on new features in V8, especially on new explorers, enhanced explorers. So we'll be talking about the failover and feature which is specifically designed for replication. So one accelerator is something that you can use as well, and I will talk in details how technically it works and what kind of benefits you can get there. So Cloud Connect is the new program from Veeam. So we'll cover it shortly just to give you an idea and how you can use from the end user standpoint of view as well from the offering services for your end users if you play a role of partner of service provider. So some of the new features and some of the new details that we have added to the product since V8 release, like encryption, BOSS, which is backup of the like storage integration and rest of other features that are available within a product. And obviously, as Veeam Availability Suite is a combination of Veeam Backup Replication and Veeam ONE. So the second part of this demonstration will be focused on management tools. So we have Veeam ONE, and shortly we'll discuss new features of Veeam ONE products. So Veeam Endpoint Protector is something that I have prepared for you today. So just 5 minutes we'll spend at the end of the presentation just to see what it is and how you can use it, and how you can leverage your data protection infrastructure. So let's go ahead. So a Veeam Availability Suite gives you complete visibility with Veeam ONE and Veeam Management Pack. So these two products are designed for data center management, for data center monitoring. So first product is just a standalone, which is Veeam ONE, allows you to monitor your VMware or Hyper-V environment, and Management Pack is an extension for System Center Operations Manager, just in case if you use that part of the Microsoft family product. That allows you to leverage your investment into Ops Manager from Microsoft, allowing you to monitor your VMware environment and Hyper-V. And Backup is a great complement to that Veeam Availability Suite, allowing you to make your infrastructure fully protected. And this product is more focused on VMware and Hyper-V. So these are two platforms that we support at the moment. So first of all, based on agenda, let's talk about Veeam Backup and Replication. Just to remind you, so Veeam Backup Replication is the product that contains two features under itself. So backup and replication is something that you can use for your daily operations within your virtual environment. So backup is just archiving virtual machines, and replication is for building disaster recovery sites when you can replicate to to the same hypervisor platform, from VMware to VMware or from Hyper-V to Hyper-V, and get the disaster recovery site up and running in case of complete accident or partial accident to your production site. So some of the features that I'd like to emphasize, just to remind you, if you are not first, for Veeam, if you are not new for Veeam. So we have implemented a number of features into the product. So for now, this product supports Hyper-V, VMware. So we have a really custom and complex way of deployment of that product that allows you to cover even huge environments. So we have proxy, we have repository components or elements of the product that allows you to cover without any limitations in scalability, any size of environment, any number of VMs within your VMware or Hyper-V. So we have native format for backup archive. So it's called VBK, which is a full backup. And so Veeam is also focused on incremental and reverse incremental. So we can make changes. We can make points for recovery using incremental or reverse incremental approach for your virtual infrastructure. So this actually allows you to leverage your investment into your storage system, allowing you use it more effectively and save space on it for rest of other points for restore or for some other sort of data. Yeah, let's move on. And, as we have covered just some, basic things, I'd like to move on to something that we have added to version 8 of the product. So we have explorers. We actually, added this functionality to Veeam Backup Replication almost 2 years ago. So the first explorer, I believe, was designed for Microsoft Exchange and for SharePoint, and then we extended that functionality by adding explorers for mail system. So right now we have Exchange for Explorer for Exchange, for Microsoft Exchange. So the idea behind that feature is that you can simply drill down into your backup archive, selecting the appropriate point to restore. So, for example, from Monday, from last week, so you can drill down into the item level of the backup archive to that mail system, to that mail database, and restore absolutely anything which is available in the selected specified mailbox. So we can drill down into user, select the appointment, deleted appointment, select the deleted message, select the deleted notes, or whatever the data you need to restore that have been accidentally delete it. So I can just drill down into the backup archive and restore it on fly using this Explorer for Exchange. So this is even available in the previous generation of the product in the previous major release, which was version 7. So right now we are talking about version 8, and we have some enhancement in Explorer for Exchange. So first of all, I'd like to emphasize the ability to recover even hardly deleted items that's deleted by holding Shift or by selecting the appropriate option within Outlook or within the OWA when the user completely delete the message or some other sort of data. So we are able to restore these hardly deleted items from the Exchange database and recover them to the production one. And one-click Exchange item restore, which is available in Enterprise Manager, is something which is also purely new for the version 8. So this is a great a way for for big companies when you have a help desk and when you just want to give the permission to the selected user just to recover this sort of data, especially if we talk about the Exchange. So using the Enterprise Manager, which is web-based application, web-based feature of Veeam Backup Replication product. So this admin can just go there, restore what is needed. Let's move on. So just to remind you, there is Explorer for SharePoint as well. So the main idea of this feature, of this plugin for for Veeam Backup Replication, is to drill down into the archive with the SharePoint service, with the SharePoint database, and recover selected message. Yeah, I forgot to mention that either Veeam Explorer for Exchange or this SharePoint Explorer. So these plugins do not use anything inside the application, so we do not require you to install any agent, anything, any service into the application itself. So they are fully agentless, and that's the main idea. That's the main, let's say, thing that we keep in mind when we develop a product. So this is purely new for V8, so for the current release that you can download from website. So this is Explorer for Active Directory, and again, so the idea behind this application, the idea behind this part of the application is that you can drill down into the application which is inside your backup archive, select the appropriate point, and drill down through there and restore attributes of the selected user or restore entire group of the Active Directory. So I can also emphasize some benefits of that, Explorer for Active Directory. So you'll get a native UI, like user interface, like you usually see in, regular Windows Active Directory Manager. And in the same way, like you do there, using Microsoft native UI, within Explorer for Active Directory, you can restore required item, deleted item, changed items. You can compare production value and the value from yesterday, which is sitting in your backup archive, select the attributes and restore them. So this feature also supports restore for of passwords, which is also a regional approach, or a great way to for Active Directory admins. So SQL, SQL database, structured query language, Explorer. So similar approach like for Exchange, for Active Directory, also agentless, allows you to recover database. And moreover, as I mentioned initially, Veeam does, full backup or incremental backup or reverse incremental. So building those points for restore, between those points, we can also separately backup your SQL logs, SQL transaction logs, allowing you to keep, some milestones for restore. And you can actually schedule the separate SQL backup job. So in the same folder where the SQL application is sitting, where the SQL backup application is sitting, we have separate chain of the backup logs of the SQL database. And this way, technically allows us to replay logs that have been backed up before between those points. And, practically it allows you to restore your application or the entire database or just a selected database to a particular point in time, like you can see now on the screen. So I can just scroll, back and forth and select the appropriate minutes that you need. So we're going to use the appropriate point, which is native point for restore of the backup archive, and then we can just replay your logs transaction just to give you a real state, a required state of your SQL database or databases. This is something new to V8. I have mentioned this already, but just a couple of words about this as well. So during the restore points, we can set up the separate backup job for the SQL logs, and there is another extension you'll find in the folder with a backup archive. So VBK full backup extension, VIB and VRB. So these are points for restore. So we call them incremental or reverse incremental. Anyway, they contain just changes since last run. And there is something new that you'll find in the same folder, which is called VLB extension, or Veeam logs backup, which is designed specifically for SQL database when you need when you need to back up those logs transactions and use those logs transactions for the replay and for restoring to any particular point in time. So let's move on to replication part of the product. So that's something that we ship as well. So we have second feature, which is replication, which is pretty mature. So really designed for DR cases, like if you have something really mission critical and you have really short RTO, so you have to immediately get up and running your services. So replication is something that you can use as well. So two features that I'd like to talk about today. So first of all is that now I can leverage one acceleration. So probably one acceleration should be pure replication, but anyway, so I'll be talking about one acceleration in a minute. So one acceleration is something that you can use now for replication job as well, because just to remind you, in V7, one accelerator was available only for backup operations, and so right now we implemented that feature into replication functionality of the product. So now you can replicate over slow bandwidth. And you can finish in time your action, save bandwidth and get the job done in time, on time. And this is something that allows you to increase, to reduce the replication window, make it shorter, and deliver as much points to DR site as you can. And the other one, which is called failover plan, is something new. So the idea behind the failover plan is that you can group your VMs that are playing, for example, specific service. So let's take an example. Let's take mail server, and obviously, if it's Exchange, it requires Active Directory. So we can make these dependents like Exchange plus Active Directory. We can put into the failover plan. We can specify the appropriate order, like the Active Directory should be first, and then Exchange. We can also set the timeout for both applications, for both virtual machines, and we can put into the failover plan. So the benefit that you'll get here is that by one click you can execute the entire service, and so this execution of the failover plan will follow the rules that you specify for your virtual machines that are underneath. So that's the idea. So one acceleration is something that you have heard already just in a previous slide a couple of minutes ago. So that's the great technology. So we added this technology in previous major release, but in V8 we just extended this. We added into replication, as I said recently. And for those who haven't, seen it in action and who don't know exactly how it works, so this is a great time to get these details. So first of all, the idea and the real benefit and is something that you can, you have to consider before, using one accelerator is the bandwidth, is the speed between, two sites. So if you plan to make a offsite backup, so if you plan to keep your archive somewhere else in another city, in another data center, if you, plan to build another data center and, replicate or make cross replication or, make cross backup or whatever. So something, the most important is to understand the bandwidth. And based on the experience that I have here at Veeam Software, I would suggest to use one accelerator in case if you have less than 10 megabits per second bandwidth. Otherwise, so usually we face another bottleneck, which is a disk, a target disk. So obviously we can, transfer data really fast over one accelerator link. But then when we upload that data to the target data store, so the I/O of that target data store is not enough. So, and that's going to be a bottleneck. So that's why one accelerator doesn't make any sense in this case. And that's why, so prior thinking about enabling one accelerator feature and trying to test it, I would suggest you to take a look at the bandwidth. And if it's really slow, like, slower than 10 megabits per second, then consider about this feature. So, the idea is that, there is a cache which is, sitting at the end, which is sitting at the targets where we replicate or where we back up data. And this cache is actually something, well, I would put it this way. So cache contains, recently used blocks or, blocks that are often used by the source side. And just before transferring this data, so this cache talks to the source element of this feature. And if there are, some upcoming blocks that have been recently transferred at the end, we just keep those blocks, saying that we have got already those blocks sitting at the target cache, and we don't have to transfer that blocks. And this is the way how we save the bandwidth, and this is the way how we just can simply skip the transferring of the appropriate blocks and go to the next block, next, and etc. So that's the idea of one accelerator. And yeah, next time we just transfer, and if there are some identical blocks already transferred before and they're sitting at the target cache, so we just simply skip those, going to the next available blocks within that virtual machine. So let's move on and let's talk about something which is really new. So for those of you who have seen and who followed Veeam for several years, so you probably know that recently we had something different. So in previous major release there was cloud edition feature of the product that allowed you to upload your backup archives into one of the 15 public clouds, and it's just a separate license, separate price model, and etc. etc. So we just decided to to discontinue support. I mean, we still support the the current users with the cloud edition, but in V8 there is no anymore cloud edition, so there is something different which is called Cloud Connect, and there is also a separate license. So the idea here is that Veeam is using the existing service provider, existing partners, and also we are in process of signing agreements with service providers that are about to interested in cloud in the backup services for the end users, and that's the great tool that Veeam gives to all virtual community and to partners, that allows us to allow them to accept backups and to accept replicas of the end users that are using Veeam products. So I just want to go through a number of technical benefits of that feature. So first of all, it's easy to set up the product and the connection. So for the end user, the main, let's say, thing that they have to know is that it's secured, it's encrypted. So we use SSL encryption for transferring traffic. So no way to fear, no way to build, or we don't ask to put VPN, like tunnel between service provider and the end user, because the traffic is encrypted. There is SSL is in use, and the other thing is that there is just one port to use, which is something that you can also change. So we give you some default port, but if you want, you can simply change it. And even if you have the backup server behind NAT somewhere inside your network, so we just set up easily. We just give you instruction how to set up easily, port mapping, traffic redirecting, traffic flowing, and etc. And it's really easy, like 10 minutes to set up. Yeah, and this tool is ready to go for, let's say, for several end users. I mean, if you have lots of end users, if you play a role of service provider on the market, so this tool is also designed to cover multiple end users, because there is multi-tenancy support as well implemented into the product. So you can just delegate some quota to a particular end user, generate credentials, specify the repository, even the repository which is being used by your own needs, like you backup, for example, your own infrastructure to that repository. So you can just cut piece of that repository and focus that part of that repository to on that particular end user, and that particular end user can set up his own Veeam instance and target their backup archives on your particular repository, having access to only his data. So there is multi-tenant support out of the box available. Also, I'd like to emphasize endpoint end-to-end encryption. So there is two places where we keep password. So one is just a original password that you can specify for the archive. So you can just keep this password in your mind, or you can just know it somewhere. And if this password is forgotten, so you can just use Enterprise Manager password for recovery. So that's the just universal password that you can set to the entire infrastructure. And in case of accident, I mean, if you accidentally forgotten your password, so you can just go ahead and use Enterprise Manager password in this case. So Enterprise Manager itself, I've mentioned this part of the product several times, and yeah, just to give you an idea what exactly it is. So that's just a web-based part of the product that's is more focused on web management. Well, it gives you some basic management of Veeam BNR, allowing you to to do some daily operations like run the job, retry the job, edit the job, etc., etc. So you can also do some operations for recovery. So we have implemented item recovery for Active Directory and for Microsoft Exchange into Enterprise Manager. Just to remind you, which you can use for the help desk. So just give the delegate rights to your particular users within your team, and they can do recovery over Enterprise Manager, having these rights restrictions, multi-tenant support, and etc., etc. So this is what I've mentioned. Okay, so let's move on to storage integration, and let's talk a little bit about the benefits that you can get using this integration. So in a previous major release, we added support for some sort of storages. As far as I remember, we added HP integration. So first of all, VSA, store ones, P4000, MSA, and some sort of these storages coming from Hewlett-Packard. And so initially that feature was focused on doing recovery granular recovery from the snapshots that we can make using the storage APIs, even from the Veeam UI or directly from the storage management interface. And Veeam was initially focused on the granular recovery of data from those snapshots. I mean, if there is a production storage, which we support, so we initially were focused on the snapshots, virtual machine item recovery from these storages. And then we came up with another idea. So what if we can, leverage that snapshot technology for, making a backup? And this is something that we actually implemented into product. So right now, if this storage is supported, I just want to go through the list shortly. So HP, with the VSA left hand P4000 3PAR. So there is also NetApp support. There is also IBM N series supported. So for the full list, you can just address. So you can just go and check in the resource tab of our website just to get a full list of support storages. But the idea is that for VMware infrastructure, so I've seen lots of you raise the hand that you run VMware. So for VMware, right now you can just simply switch from the VMware snapshot technology to the storage API snapshot technology. So this approach, or this migration, snapshot migration, allows you to simply move the stress from your hypervisor, from your virtual machine itself, because right now, so you don't have to run a virtual machine with a taking snapshot for the backup process. So you just can simply move to the snapshot on the storage level. So the idea is that you snapshot when we perform the backup job of the selected virtual machine, we go into the virtual center or directly to the hypervisor, see there is a storage, get back, so take a look at the storage integration part of our product and see, okay, so there is storage integration, so this storage is presented to our product, to our UI, so we understand the APIs of that storage, so now we can use the storage integration. And, using the storage integration, having all things set up in the product, we can just simply, using the APIs of the storage, trigger the snapshot of that VMFS where we have virtual machines that are required for the backup. And at that point, having taken snapshot of the selected, volume with VMFS, so we can just simply process constant data of the selected virtual machines. So there is no VMware snapshot at this moment. So virtual machines are just running as they are running without, backup process. And the benefits of, this approach is that now you can simply run the backup process even during business hours. That's the idea. And something that is available even in recent versions of the product is obviously the Explorer for the snapshots. Even in granular level, when you drill down into application level and restore items from the Exchange, Active Directory, SQL database, SharePoint, and so on and so forth. So we added support for some sort of storages and some sort of software that we can use, that Veeam can use together with the technologies and features and benefits of that software or hardware. So first of all, by adding integration with EMC data domain, so if you have data domain boost implemented into the product, so we can target repository. We can use that EMC DD boost as a target for our backup archives. And the benefit here is that the client-side deduplication allows to transfer less data. So because the data is going to be prior transferring to the target, to the real hardware storage, and that's also a benefit from getting short backup window, and more often, creating more often points for recovery. And obviously, one of the support that we provide for the EMC is just a LAN-free backup that allows you to leverage your FC connection. So Exagrid, also some of the software vendor, some of the storage vendor that we have added into V8 support. So built-in Veeam acceleration data mover service can be used for Exagrid firmware. And also the main idea what we follow, what we are trying to achieve is that we want to make a backup much faster or fast as we can. So I/O control is the new feature allowing you to control your production storage, the latency on the storage. So just try to imagine if there are several backup operations running at the same time using, let's say, various proxies. So in this case, using the I/O control, you can just put into queue the assigning of new proxy and new backup jobs to that particular storage, which has been configured using the backup I/O control. And this is the way to keep an eye on the production storage performance, not affecting to your business, not affecting to your virtual machine performance. So a couple of words about Veeam ONE. We are actually very close to the demonstration. So yeah, as I promised, it's going to be a live demo. So we will be able to see the product in action. And yeah, a couple of words about Veeam ONE, which is part of Veeam Availability Suite. So Veeam ONE is the standalone product for VMware and for Hyper-V. So using that product, you can simply monitor vCenter, monitor System Center Virtual Machine Manager, or you can, add directly your hypervisors like either ES6 as a standalone hypervisor, or you can go to your, Hyper-V Manager or, Hyper-V cluster, add it into Veeam ONE product and gather all information, real-time information from this infrastructure, and get all the real-time metrics, apply different thresholds, alarms to those metrics, and perform some actions based on the incoming alerts, incoming events from the infrastructure. So this product is also designed for reports, for analysis of the infrastructure. So one of the reasons why I'd like to show you this product is that if you're considering to be a Veeam evaluator, if you're considering to try Veeam, so I usually suggest you have Veeam ONE installed in place, not only because we want to add it into the entire package and give it to use as an entire tool, but also from the technical standpoint of view, Veeam ONE can easily investigate some potential problems when you perform a backup operation. So it can tell you your data store latency is actually slow, or there is not enough space on that particular LUN where you keep your VMFS with your virtual machines. And if you're gonna go using snapshots of VMware, so it's gonna be a problem because that virtual machine is very huge, and the taking snapshot during the backup may grow, and that's gonna be a very big problem for the LUN with that VMFS. So that's why it's just a quick example, but I would suggest you to have Veeam ONE installed pure Veeam Backup Replication just to get an idea what exactly run within your environment if there are some some issues or potential issues. Yeah, let's just jump into live demonstration and take a look at the product itself. So before I do this, I just would like to open up the Q&A and see there are some questions incoming. So I mentioned the 10 megabits per second. So the question is, sorry, the minimum bandwidth for one acceleration is 10 megabits per second. So this is what I'd like to say from my experience, but well, it may be vary in your environment. So if there is a chance to try, so just take a look and try. And if there is a chance to compare direct access, direct connection and one accelerator connection, just go ahead and try. and see if there is any difference comparing to, between these two setup. Do you have plans to support for Dell Aqualogic storage? So that's the question that we get really often. So I don't have any, anything that we, well, it's something that we're considering to do, but right now we don't really know exact date when this is going to be implemented. All right. So let's jump into a product. So hopefully you can see it. And so let's take a look at Veeam Backup Replication, and let's go through the features that we have seen here just several minutes ago. So having product installed into your environment, you have VBR, or Veeam Backup Replication, which is standard UI. And you have Enterprise Manager, which is a web-based application. We have spoken about this in presentation. So let's take a look at the UI. So this is V8, and the latest build, I believe, which has all fixes, all hot patches, and etc. etc. So it works pretty good, and the interface is really friendly. Let's take a look firstly at the backup folder that contains SQL, because I've spoken about the SQL enhancement features, especially talking about the ability to drill down into the SQL items, and also I was speaking about the replace of transaction logs, allowing you to to restore a SQL database to a particular point in time. So that's true. So that's something new for the for this version of the product. And let's just go into the backup job configuration. And the SQL database contains some custom settings here. So this is actually done on the guest processing step of the jobs configuration within your virtual machine, specific virtual machine, in application aware process option. And there is SQL tab that allows you to enable the backup logs periodically. So this is something that I mentioned. It's like separate backup job that runs the logs transaction backup, and it gives you another chain with VLB, which is Veeam logs, Veeam logs for your backup. So let's take a look closer at this folder. So this is the BOS. Yeah, let's just go there, and just eDrive and the backup folder, and I believe this is the job we have. And now I think it's sitting somewhere else. Yeah, let's check it out here. All right, so the logs enabled by it haven't run yet, so that's why we don't see logs within that backup job. But anyway, so that's just another chain that contains the SQL logs, and using those logs, we can just simply jump into the appropriate select point of the SQL database using logs replay. Yeah, let's take a look at this Explorer having logs transaction. Yeah, so there is another one which is Hyper-V, and yeah, let's just take a look at this. Yeah, there we go. So that's not for VMware. I mean, the logs transaction is actually doesn't care about the type of the virtualization. So the logs transaction and backup available for both hypervisors. So it's just a matter of the application of the SQL. And so within that folder that contains the restore points, we also have VLB extensions, which are the the logs milestone. So using the restore to any particular point in time, they are playing very important role. If we click SQL, if we say application restore, so that's the SQL database restore. It runs the wizard where I have to say what I'd like to restore from which day. So I would say that I need to get a latest available backup. Let's finish it. So we have Explorer pop up, and it's just loading the database structure. The instance structure where we have databases available. So now I can just say restore, and I can also specify where to restore. Or if I want to export this data, I can do this. And there is extra option which is called a point in time. So let's say point in time, and that's the wizard that you have seen in the demonstration in slides. So I just can simply scroll it out to somewhere like 13th of January 2015 to 2:26 a.m. So I'd like to get a state of my selected database to that particular date, to that particular time. And if I restore, so it goes back with all these changes and applies those changes to the production database. And the same way is available for export if I just would like to get the exported data and then I want to play them around myself, so I can just use the export to point in time. What else? Yeah, let's take a look at the Active Directory restore. So the same approach for Active Directory. I mean, the same wizard, but runs the wizard designed for Active Directory. So I just want to pay your attention that for using item level restore, we need to be sure that the application aware processing is actually enabled here. So if it's true, then the item level restore for Active Directory is available. So if we go here, and if we say to that VM that I'd like to get some items from there, it also gives me the wizard with the point for restore and runs the Explorer where I can, just parse this database, parse this Active Directory, and I can restore any point. I can restore any item. So here we go. We have users, whatever, some other groups, and we can just say that I'd like to compare with production. If I select the user, so I can see if there are any changes to that user, and I can also show changed items. So there are 2 items that have been changed before, and if I say that I'd like to compare them. Okay, compare this, and so we can see the production value of that user control have been changed. So if we need to restore, we can do this right from there. If there are more than one attribute, we can just select what exactly we'd like to restore by ticking or unticking the item, and we can get these things applied and change it in the production Active Directory. So let's jump into one more quite important thing that I have mentioned here. So that's the storage integration, and it seems there is interest from the audience about the storage, especially asking about the type of the storage that are going to be supported in the future. So I just want to show you the idea, and that's the list of supported storage. If we click on it, so we have 3 groups, and mainly those groups are named somehow, and there are some description what exactly you can add here. So having the storage API set it into the UI of the product, you can go into into the backup job correction, storage, and this tab in the advanced options. You can just enable or disable the storage integration that allows you to leverage the APIs of the storage. And again, it's just less stress on a hypervisor, less stress on the virtual machine itself. It's just completely storage level approach for making image level backup of virtual machines. So one more thing that I'd like to show is actually one accelerator, and this is where you actually set up two elements of one accelerator, because for using that that feature within product, you obviously need two elements, so target and source. So these target and source are talking to each other and exchanging the traffic, exchanging the cache. You can also populate cache on the target element of that feature. And so the populated cache will be just will be used for a next run of the backup job or of the replication job, and will tell us whether we need to transfer those blocks or not, if there are some already transferred block have been done before. So that's the idea. So that two elements should be set up, and we have to specify those elements in backup job or maybe in replication job, because the one accelerator is actually available for both now. So let's take a look at the backup copy job now, and that's the way where you say what should be the one accelerator role and one accelerator feature, one accelerator element of that particular setup. So the source, and that's the target. Let's move on. So one more feature that I like to show you is also a backup IO control. So that's just a basic setup, but you can also drill down. And if you are a lucky customer having Enterprise Plus license of the product, you can specify the IO control for specific storage in that list. So the idea here is that you are saying that this is going to be the threshold for the new tasks, and this is going to be the threshold for the existing tasks. So if they are overachieving those thresholds, so there are going to be some changes that are saying here in those sentences. And that's the IO control. So for those of you who are interested in the third-party storage, say the service provider, we can tell you that right now it's pretty big number of available partners who are offering services like backup services, backup as a service. They are cloud, so you can just go to the service provider, look up at our website, and take a look at the available service providers. Get quotes from them, take a look at the price if you like or if you don't like. So that's just a great opportunity to keep your backup offsite. And if you are a partner, if you are a service provider, or if you are considering to be a service provider, so there is a license which is just cloud provider license that allows you to enable technically the functionality for the cloud provider within our products. I just want to switch to another instance of Veeam, showing you the Cloud Connect feature within Veeam. So that's just another instance of Veeam by the same product, but I have a different license assigned to that product. So it's just a Cloud Connect license containing 10 VMs in it. So what I can do, I can, as a cloud provider, assign in this license to the instance of Veeam. I get the extra tab, which is called a Cloud Connect infrastructure, allowing me to set the gateway, because I can, set up another gateway as well if I plan to, to process lots of VMs from various customers, 1,000 customers, million customers, and etc. So I can just set up the unlimited scalability here, adding, various gateways into the product. And then I can, create a particular credentials to the selected user, saying the password and the username. And I can also assign that particular user to a specific cloud repository using even my local available repository that I have been using for my backup archives. That's the quotation for the end user. So the idea here is that, having this specified and having this presented to the end user. If I go to my cloud provider instance, so that's the that's actually the IP address of the of that instance of of Veeam. So this is end user instance. The other one is just a cloud provider instance. So if I set up all these things correctly, what I can do, I can back up my virtual machines data to that cloud, and then in the cloud tab right there, I can use these data that have been backed up to that cloud target, and I can just simply restore whatever I'd like to restore from there. So that's just something that probably makes sense. And yeah, just in case if you don't have the backup storage, or if you just want to get extra redundancy for your backup infrastructure and for your backup policy, so this is something that we give, and this is something which is already available. So just go ahead and check your partners. Go ahead and check Veeam website, and yeah, test and let us know. Let us your feedback. So we have really small amount of time. I just want to switch to the Q&A tab, as we still have 4 minutes available. Just want to cover the questions that we have. So please, does Veeam ONE need a license? I need Veeam ONE Enterprise license. So there is a question about the licenses. Yes, we obviously need a license for a Veeam ONE product, because it's just a part of the Veeam Availability Suite, and it contains its separate license, which is also per CPU. Yeah, you can request license from the accounting, or you can just get a trial license if you want to use this product in some commercial functionality. Hopefully this makes sense. I see that Microsoft Azure already has a connection for Veeam. Is that correct? Yes, there is there is actually an instance, like predefined instance in Microsoft Azure Marketplace, which actually has pre-installed a Veeam Backup Replication product, and also. Yeah, I mean, that's ready to go marketplace item, so I can just deploy that item, use that pre-installed Veeam Backup Replication product, and then use it as a target, for example. So the idea here is that some of the end users are targeting their backup archives on that instance, which is sitting there in Microsoft Azure. Another thing is that you can attach more disks to that instance, and you can put your backups there. You can purchase even storage service from the Azure and attach it to your instance with Veeam, so you can just store and use them as a repository. And for other reasons, like you can just try it in trial version right there without deploying into your own environment. Yeah, but yes, that's right. It's in marketplace sitting there. Why do I need Flex icon license for NetApp storage? So it's just because of the APIs that are required there. So that's why we just need this license. So as we still have 1 minute, and as I promised initially, just want to show you one more thing, which is called Endpoint Protector. So this is something which is really new to the market. Again, it's just a 1 minute demo. And yeah, I just want to show you two things. So first of all, so I have this product already installed. So Endpoint is actually designed for the physical box, for the physical box backup. So that's the element that allows you to backup selected items, so I can back up entire computer. You can select just some volumes, or file level backup specifying that this or that folder or this file should be backed up. And going through that wizard pretty straightforward, saying what exactly should be backed up, where, destination, like C drive or E drive, and etc. So going through that wizard and having thing done, you get an archive sitting in the folder which was specified by you. So right now it's in E drive right there. So that's the archive of partial of this computer from which I'm demoing this webinar today. And if I go to the second part of the product, which is file level restore, so that's a recovery. That's recovery UI that allows you to recover what exactly you need. So I just specifying the location of the recovery. So in this case, just default VBM, which is right there, like Veeam Backup metadata, saying that the backup taken today, that's the operating system, and that's the restore point that you can select, and that's it actually. So when you click finish, you get the item, the selected item, or the entire operating system available. So it depends on what have been backed up recently. I selected just a couple of files from there, but if there is an entire operating system, so there are some extra options available within that interface. So this is something we have still in beta, but I would suggest you to take a look at this because it's free and it's beta and it's designed for for just a computer, not for virtual environment. But you can also back up your virtual machines with that tool as well. So this is it from my side. I'm sorry for 1 minute extra from this demonstration. So I'd like to thank you very much for your questions and for your time today. So thank you very much. Have a great week and join us next time. Bye-bye.